Hello and happy Sunday. This is Sam and I'm in a new Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I'm going to take a little flight from Troutdale over to the Dalles Municipal Airport up here in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm here on the home screen. We're just going to go to the world map, scroll in, find Portland-Troutdale. We want to depart to the east. We're going to start on the runway rather than cold and dark. Here is the Columbia Gorge Regional, or the Dalles Municipal. And we want to come in on this runway. We're going to use a Cessna 172 with G1000, so glass cockpit, and we're going to use live weather conditions. Live traffic, oh, that's set out a preset. Select the live, and off group only. And let's load her up. I was just testing this flight here a few minutes ago to get this recording settings set up, and it's definitely technically IFR conditions, but we're going to be flying this as a VFR flight, so we're just going to punch through the clouds, so don't tell the virtual FAA that we did this. But once we get up above the clouds, it's really quite scenic coming out of Troutdale. So I think that you guys will like this. The clouds in the new Microsoft Flight Simulator are really something to look at. Little wisps of moisture, condensation. And then you get the sunlight here because it's only just before 8:30 local time. And so it's right now the sun is still rising. It's not rising above the horizon, but it's still early morning. We're running on the latest patch available, and evidently there's an issue where if you open the VFR map during flight, it can cause a crash to desktop. So I'm not even going to use the VFR map. I have a little nav map here. It's actually installed this last night. And that essentially shows where I am, and then also will track on the map where I am and where I'm going. Well, not where I'm going, because I don't have my flight plan loaded, but I could, my understanding is create my flight plan in little nav map and then import it into Flight Simulator and then fly the route.
Portland Tower, Cessna Alpha Sierra X Golf Sierra Alpha and runway 7 ready for takeoff, departure to the east.
Oh, so yes, we got a lot of clouds here. Already basically set up, so I'm just going to turn off my parking brake, and we are going to throttle up. Maybe I should note here that I am not a pilot in real life, or whatever, so you probably do not want to follow my directions for flying a plane. Although if you're in a plane, like, and the pilot gets incapacitated and you're only one, I guess you're going to try anything because you don't want to die. And let's roll off here. There's a little wisp of blue out there. There is blue sky. So Troutdale is an airport that's up here in the Columbia Gorge. The Columbia Gorge basically the Columbia River runs along through it.
Technical,
And
Sierra Alpha, continue for east departure. I will contact you next when you leave my airspace.
And that separates.
Portland Tower, Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha, continue for east departure.
The Columbia River and the Columbia Gorge separate Washington and Oregon. And if you played the Oregon Trail game growing up, that was you could raft down the Columbia River from the Dalles. Right? Yeah, the Dalles. And that's where we're flying to, is the Dalles Regional Municipal Airport. Technically, so the Dalles is in Oregon on the river, but the airport is on the other side of the river in Washington. Oh, see, this is more blue up there. There's more wisps of clouds. Oh, no, okay. Too sharp. Let's keep keep going here. So we're going to have to go through these clouds. Again, there really shouldn't be any other airplanes here about my... because I'm not playing this on the internet so that we're getting other traffic. Now the Columbia Gorge, like if you're flying in commercially into PDX, which is to the west of Troutdale, the Columbia Gorge, like if you're coming from the east, like coming from when I go visit my brother in St. Louis, we will fly in right down the gorge. And if there wasn't all these clouds here, you could hopefully see Mount Hood. That's what you see when you come in flying commercially, is you go right along Mount Hood as you're flying down the gorge. Now, we're not going to be... Oh, there's the sun right there. Look at that. Let me switch out. What was I saying? Yeah, we're not flying high enough that I don't know if we can see the mountain very easily. Yes, there is sunlight and blue sky. Down here's the river. Make sure my angle of attack is still fine here. So essentially the plan is we're just going to follow the gorge until we reach the Dalles. And that should be about half an hour here. Yep. Those clouds are like, wow. It's like cotton candy. Well, actually, I'm also really liking the sunrise here. Hopefully we can level out about 2,000 feet, although I'm imagining I'm going to have to go higher because of these clouds here. But so many attacks still kind of high. I want to basically get up to a nice height above these clouds and then level off. So I'm flying here with a Honeycomb Alpha yoke, which I actually just got within the last month or so. I was flying with a Logitech TAC 3 joystick or something, an older flight yoke little joystick I'd gotten. And I really like the Honeycomb yoke way better. Now I'm going to leave the airspace here, just about.
Cessna Golf, Sierra Alpha, you are leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
Portland Tower, Cessna Alpha, Sierra X-Ray Golf, Sierra Alpha, frequency change.
Approach. Press flight following.
Portland approach, Cessna Alpha, Sierra X-Ray Golf, Sierra Alpha is type Cessna Skyhawk 3 miles west of Whiskey Alpha 63. Request flight following.
Cessna Alpha, Sierra X-Ray Golf, Sierra Alpha, Portland approach. Squawk tree 175.
No, ain't that hurry.
Squawk tree 175, Cessna Golf, Sierra Alpha.
Cessna Golf, Sierra Alpha radar contact 2 miles west of Whiskey Alpha 63, 2,800 feet. Altimeter tree 0.09er. Portland departure Skywest tree 511 is climbing through 8,200 feet for
3009er. Okay, so we have to do 3009er on here, so I need to change my altimeter. That's the thing is, I have no idea how to change it on here. I'm not sure actually if it's even working yet. They're talking to me. Yes, I heard. So I don't know if... I'm just going to fix it on the Steam gauge. I don't know if the G1000 yet here in the simulator is working to change the altimeter settings. It might not be. I know there's been some issues. There's a lot of issues with the G1000. Look at that. That should be Mount Hood right there. Right? Look at those clouds. Those clouds kind of look a little angry. Just my map there. Okay. Oh, so... Now let's see, what was I... So anyway, we've got the river running along here. We've got I-84 which is the east-west interstate running right about there-ish, I think. And that's kind of that's the interstate to go if you're trying to go east out of Portland. Oh, we're getting to 30. We need to level off now. Let's level off. So let's adjust my trim. My nose. Change that pitch down to 0% because it starts at 5% for takeoff. Okay. Trim is at 0%. Yeah, our little vertical speed thing's going crazy here, but we're just basically we want to ease up into a nice, we want to just let the plane, I want to let the plane settle into something here. You know, essentially it should just be, we gotta just basically follow this big patch of clouds, because that's going to be a river. I guess so. Mount St. Helens is over somewhere off to the north here. I don't know if we see it. I don't see it. There's Mount Hood up there. That is Mount something or other that I don't remember. I don't think I want to go right into that cloud. I mean, what are they going to do? They can't take my plane away. It's a virtual plane. Yeah, okay, so we're still just heading up the gorge here. I think if anything, I should just get below the clouds. I should do that. Let's pull out a little bit more on the thermometer so I start descending. That would help if I could actually just see. Yeah, growing up we had multiple versions of Flight Simulator, and it's like I even had like a copy, like 5 or 5.1 for DOS. Now landing a plane in the DOS version, that felt like an accomplishment. But it's like, yeah, compared to, oh, there's a river over there. Compared to now, that, yeah, there's just no comparison. I mean, even when you're like in the cockpit, and you've got the, where's my view here? You've got the sunlight coming in along the cabin, you'll actually see the shadows change, and it's like, dude. Oh. So yeah, so I got the yoke, and then my brother was here in town, and he's not someone that like plays flight simulators. I don't know if he'd ever like actually like played a real flight simulator. He would maybe like play arcade, like the you know, like a World War II fighting fighter game kind of thing, but not like a flight simulator. So he comes and he starts doing like these landing challenges, and like within like a few times he's already landing the plane like better than I am, and I'm the one that's been playing flight simulators. So that was very it's like, how dare you. But that did help because it was like, okay, watching him land the plane, it's like, okay. Even this right here, it's like, yes, we probably can't see a lot, but just kind of the wispy clouds up here, or the, as we're flying through the cloud, we've got these clouds sticking out here, the sun right there. Until I get lower down below these clouds, I'm just having to rely on the little nav map for navigation purposes. See, it's like where I am. I could use the G1000 as well. This is really handy having the, what do they call this? Something view, something. Yes, there is still a river below here. I like how they render a co-pilot when you're outside. There's a co-pilot there, but when you're actually in cockpit view, there is no co-pilot. It's like, wow. Just like a horror movie or something.
Portland approach horizon here 2181 at 8,000.
That's not me.
Descending 4,500 feet.
We'll want to get a hold of the KDLS airport for announcing that we're going to be coming in. The thing is, I don't think it's ready yet. It took quite a while before it was actually ready. I can actually tune it. I'm suspecting that's related to just how far away the airport is. See those PDX up there? Yeah. Probably just a combination of like with the mountains and everything. I'm assuming that they're rendering the mountains and how that affects radio contact. I'm assuming. I don't know that for a fact. Okay. Yeah. It's like yesterday when I was flying this, it's like again the altimeter setting was 3009er, and it's like starting out at Troutdale, my altitude was negative. And it's like, is that because of the latest patch? I guess we don't have a picture of the latest. Oh, we're getting a little too low. Yeah, maybe we should like, pay attention to what we're doing here before we land the river. So let's just kind of try and like level out here, because this is actually kind of cool. What was I saying? So yeah, the altitude was negative, and I'm assuming it must be because I didn't set the altimeter setting. That's the one that I go with. I'm hoping it's not like a bug. I mean, that could be a bug. There's all sorts of bugs in this. That said, it looks like, reading on the AVSim forums, they did just fix, in the latest patch, the below sea level stuff. So like flying over in Israel with the Dead Sea, which is below sea level, or down in the Death Valley, I think it is in California. I guess before you couldn't land at below sea level stuff. It just basically acted like you were landing at 0, which is actually above the ground. Now this should be... Is this the Bonneville Locks? I think. That says North Bonneville on my map. We're going to go with the Bonneville Locks. I think that's what that's supposed to be. Cascade Locks is up on the right, so on the south side of the river. There's an airport there at Cascade Locks, too. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. There's I-84. Not sure what's up with that terrain. You can see that little kind of a valley, where the base of the mountains are little hills, creating that little valley. That's pretty too. We got a bridge here across the river. I'm not sure if this bridge is the Bridge of the Gods, or if the other bridge down at about the closer to the Dalles is the Bridge of the Gods. I guess I could look at my map and see what this says. Oh yes, this is Bridge of the Gods. This is like a toll bridge, and there's not a lot of toll bridges here, but that's one of them. Okay, so up here, this is on the south side of the river's Cascade Locks. It's on the right. We're still climbing the... I'm gonna just go in this right now. Maybe he's up a little bit on the throttle. Let's try and level out. Something that people have noticed with the latest patch was that there was like this popping issue where stuff out in the distance wasn't really rendered, and stuff would start popping in, like as you got closer to it, even like quite visibly. it would just pop in. I haven't really, I mean, I guess there aren't trees out there, but it doesn't look like bad to me, and I wonder if some people were wondering on the forums if that was just because of like, whether it was people with 1080p weren't having issues, but maybe people with 4K or higher than 1080p were having issues. I don't know. I'm just playing 1080. So, I'm also just running on like an i5 7500 and a GTX 1650, so I'm like really happy with what I'm getting out of this, honestly. Really happy. It's like, I'd been just using like FSX Steam Edition. I hadn't like tried the new X-Plane or Air 3D. Or something where it's like, I don't really just want to spend a lot of money on add-ins and stuff, and it feels like, at least in the past, that was just kind of par for the course. So I'm hoping that, I mean, I'll have to, I mean, yeah, you'll probably buy some stuff. I'm just hoping that this will be a more complete experience than, say, like using Air 3D or something. I'll just go up to this side so I don't fly through those clouds. Still, he's up on throttle here, we're still climbing a little bit.
Contact Portland Tower on 118 decimal 7 when inbound.
One thing that I've seen of noticed is that it always starts you at like 50% fuel when you start a new flight. I'm not sure why that is. If they're like, it must affect, I mean, obviously it will affect the weight and balance of the aircraft, but it seems like if you had full fuel, that would be the same, because you have the same fuel. I can't remember. I'm just chatting. Okay, now we're just going to ease around this cloud. Now, I mean, you will notice that like some of the terrain appears to pop and like modify itself as you fly by. And I'm not really concerned about that. Again, the potato computer I'm running on here. I want to get a new Ryzen processor, but I'm waiting for Zen 3 to come out here. Now people are thinking that there's issues with like if you have like an i5 of like Kaby Lake or earlier, so basically the 7500s or earlier, like an i5, because the i7s have like hyper-threading, I think it is, and the i5s didn't at that time. So, I mean, you need some cores for Flight Simulator. It doesn't yet, it's still not like, I guess that if you have more than 8 cores, it's still kind of, that's not going to help a lot. But it does, evidently, it will use more cores than just one, is my understanding. Yeah, I just wanted to do Ryzen processor. So maybe we've left the clouds behind us. I'm hoping. Oh, there's the moon out there. Come on, let's level out. And honestly, as long as we get it so it's relatively close to being level, I'm going to go with it. Maybe there's a little bit. Let's see, where are we? How are we doing here? That is me.
126.6 for Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
I want to check and see if the airport is actually now available. Come on.
Seattle Center Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha 1,800 feet.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha Seattle Center continue as planned. Altimeter tree 0.07.
Let's check if we got the airport. Do we have the airport? Ah, here we go. What's our weather on this?
Kilo Delta Lima Sierra automated weather observation 15000. Wind 247 at 6. Visibility 3. Sky condition. Few clouds at 1,200 feet. Few clouds at 4,200 feet. Few clouds at 12,200 feet.
now, altimeter is 3004. Okay, long way till we get closer. So essentially the airport is at sea level because it's like right at the river, on the river. And so that's nice. So it's essentially we just gotta get down to 0. I want to make sure my altimeter is like close to set. It appears that if I change my altimeter on my steam gauge setting, that this does actually update. Because this is matching roughly what I've got out of my little nav map, which shows my data as well. So ground speed of 106 knots. True speed of 106 knots. And then altimeter is saying 1890, which matches roughly that with like a few feet. Whereas if I look at the glass cockpit, it shows me at 1750 because of the altimeter settings. Let's set the runway for landing here. We are going to go with, what did I say? Let's go with 1-3. Let's stop landing. I'm in announce position. I have no idea if this is the right thing to do or not, but this is what I do because I'm annoying. Yeah, you're not going to see me fly a pattern. I'm not a pilot, so flying a pattern is like a good way to see me like mess stuff up. Let's reset this. So since I just put announce my position a whole bunch of times, and then when I'm like actually like coming in for landing, I'll just say announce I'm flying. So you see like this ground popping and stuff because it's changing the shape of the terrain a bit. But I still think it's cool. Now, one thing I noticed flying this yesterday was that how actually I've gone 80 foot, but I haven't really gone on this road here on the this highway on the Washington side. It's actually looks kind of nice. So I think sometime I should try that and just drive along there. Okay, there's the mountain. Now we're going to be getting into a different part of it. So back at Troutdale and stuff, that's a lot more green. Big hills and stuff, and then now we're getting into the eastern part of the state, which is the desert, and it's still bumpy, but it's not. You'll see, it's a very different kind of feel. Townaford River here, coming up on the south side of the river, right just above my right wing.
Delta 1377, you are 63 miles east. Delta 1377, you are 62 miles east.
Yeah.
Descend and maintain 5,100 feet. Keep speed below 210 knots. Expect ILS runway 28.
Oh, is that not? That might be not St. Helens. No, I don't think it's St. Helens. Unless it is 7 Helens looking really weird in the game. Because St. Helens should have a black top where it's blue.
Descend and maintain 5,100 feet. Keep speed below 2.
We got another bridge right across the river right up there. Now with the latest patch, they did just have that Japan update, and I haven't flown that yet to see what that looks like. Normally I just really fly in the US, honestly. So I should fly that here. It sounds like though they added a Flight of Japan tour, and it sounds like there's no way to save. I'm not sure if that's just you need to. Maybe it might be at least there's no autosave. I'm wondering. It would still seem like you could just escape out into the menu and then save. That's not me.
Seattle Center Southwest 2470 is at flight level 380 descending 10,000 feet.
Southwest 2470, Seattle Center. Continue as planned.
Just everything looks more alive, I guess. I know, especially like flying around areas that you're familiar with, VFR navigation is just like feels way easier. Now I never bought like add-ins for FSX, so it's possible that you could have gotten better in FSX, but it just felt like before it was just kind of like, here is a whole bunch of green mountainy shaped things, and here is this little strip of asphalt. This is a runway. Land here. And it's like, there was no way to be like, oh, okay, so here is the river running along here, which goes here, and then that's where the runway is right next to it. It was just kind of, it felt very bad. I mean, I fly VFR. I don't fly IFR, which is good evidently, because it sounds like people are having IFR issues right now with the game. But I just like to take out my little portable planes here and fly around. But using this new glass cockpit, I mean, normally I was always before, it's like, oh, I should only be using steam cages. And it's like, okay, you know what? Forget this. The glass cockpit is nice. Is that Adams up there? I don't remember. Let's try and zoom out here on my map. Oh, I wonder if that's Rainier. Oh no, Mount Adams is right there. So that's probably Adams, yeah. Okay, so... Now there is like a drone mode where you can like fly around in a little drone, so you can like do stuff. I haven't played around with that yet. Some people are getting like way better screenshots than I am, honestly. So I should mess around with that and try that out and see what happens. And then turn a little bit longer to follow the river. Apparently, somebody needs to wash the windshield of this plane. Is there bug parts on there? If you're basically up in the Pacific Northwest and you want to head east, like you're going to go to the Midwest or something, I think I-84 is really your only, like, interstate option. I'm not sure if there's something, I don't think there's any interstates up at Seattle to head east. I think I-84 is just pretty much it. Because there's nothing south in Oregon. And I don't think there's anything up in Northern California. Or, interstate-wise. Essentially, you've got this very big set of mountains. Like you've got the Rocky Mountains kind of closing any interstates. You have to have basically somehow to.
Delta 1377, contact Portland approach on 118.1.
It seems like we have like another interstate or two. You're in Seattle. Seattle, and you're going to drive all the way down to Portland just to head east.
Kilo Delta Lima Sierra traffic 7 Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha 10 miles northwest 2,200
so specifically,
about to land runway 13.
I think it's this little peninsula. So the river basically goes and that's, I think the airport's over here on this side of the river. Start a little bit, not more on the problem there. We're going to start right behind here. Again, do not try my landing procedures at home. I will not be responsible if you damage your aircraft, yourself, or something else. Yeah, I was flying yesterday, and that's in the game, and I had some bad landings trying to find a little airstrip out on this side of the mountain, this side of the mountain, and it's like I crashed into a house, and it's like it didn't do anything. And then I flipped the plane over on a different landing. It's like, what is going on? And it's like, oh, disabled crashes that was turned on. How did that happen? I mean, that would definitely do something. That's like the easy mode. Let's just turn off crashes.
Kilo Delta Lima Sierra traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha 7 miles northwest 2,000 feet inbound to land runway 13.
Okay. Let's do this. So essentially the river bends just around the river bend, and the Dalles is on this side of the river, and the airport is right over here-ish. Okay. Let's see if, recording a video and talking at the same time while trying to land the plane actually, helps or hurts. Let's see, where is that runway? Where is that runway? There's some hills right there. Oh, and the hills are moving. And it's not an earthquake.
Kilo Delta Lima Sierra traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha 5 miles northwest 1,300 feet inbound to land runway 13.
Oh, I need to make sure it was like, what, 300. Oh, not wrong way. Okay, so we're just passing 1,000 feet right now. Oh, okay, so there should be the airport right over there. So I'm a little too low. I need to adjust a little more throttle. So that should be my runway right there. We are going to announce on final.
Kilo Delta Lima Sierra traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha is on final runway 13 to land.
Okay. So if I stop talking here, you know I'm still here. The runway lined up. Let's cut the throttle.
500.
Line up the runway with the center of the G1000. A little bit lower, come on. Come on. We're going to keep our snide remarks about my landing abilities to ourselves. Okay, and what's there? So let's start flaring. And let's get back some throttle here because I need to get off the runway. So I'm going to switch out the cockpit view because it's like way easier to see for taxiing purposes. A little bit of
Sierra traffic, Cessna Alpha, Sierra X-ray Golf, Sierra Alpha is clear of the runway.
Okay. So essentially we're just gonna like mosey on over here and then we're just gonna turn the engine off and just call it a day. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to find a parking spot. I don't know where I'm supposed to park, so I just kind of like pick a spot and call it good. Sure, these little blue things are. I don't think these were here yesterday. I don't know. See if I can park this thing without hitting somebody else's plane. Coast. Okay, we're just gonna like put it right here. Let's now pull up our checklist. Parking brake. Set. Let's turn off avionics. Engine idle, 600, 650 RPM, 626. Magnetos cut off test. I think that's basically just set everything to... I'm not sure actually. Am I turning it on? Oh sure, why not? And there we have it. I'm now going to go to the main menu, and that's it for right now. I'll see you guys later.